would like to thanks for providing me this opportunity to present at this particular biggest platform, wherein so many eminent speakers and attendees are there. Here with my presentation, I'm trying to put some of the idea of mine wherein with lots of clinical data we are having. So how best way we can find a golden gems out of that particular mountains of the clinical trial.
Hello. Can you keep your mic close?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in this particular presentation, I was trying to provide some of overview of what kind of clinical data, mountain of the clinical data are there, what are the methods from where we can find it out golden gems, which can be used to help us to find a novel therapeutics and explore novel therapeutics, and how it can be connect with the data science techniques, and how the data science techniques can help to improve the clinical trials and processes. This is a disclaimer that contains views and opinions expressed in these particular presentations are solely of my view and do not any effect of official policy or position or views of Parexel. Coming to this slide, as I explained in the first particular as an introduction plan, we are having a mountain of gems, like we have historical clinical data, electronic medical data, genomes data, many real-time evidence data. All the data are available. Now the thing is, out of these particular gems, how we can mountains, how we can find it out of certain gems which can be useful for our future and using a novel therapeutic exposure as well as pharma industries. So here there is one particular technique which in a couple of earlier sessions also they have mentioned of data mining. So data mining is a use of automated analysis technique to uncover the previous undetected relationship among the data. Meaning that there are like say in a clinical trials data, we are having so many clinical trials are happening. We are having a certain objectives, but behind this particular clinical data, there are lying so many undetected data, unknown data available during these particular clinical trials, or if any clinical trials may not successful, then also from that failure clinical data, we have lots of data available. So in our next sessions, next slides, I will be explaining a little bit more on that particular part. Let's see first, like why the need of finding these particular gems? What is the need? Why can't we go with a conventional way of deriving a drug development? So in these slides, I'm just trying to put certain things like we are having a different phases. Like say first is a drug discovery, next is a preclinical development, and then as you are aware of that phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials, and last is a phase 4, which is post-marketing. Now when you are trying with a drug discovery, you will help you to trial selections, target selections, lead finding, lead optimizations, pharmacological profiling, and when you are discovering that you are finding around say 50 projects, okay, 50 particular targets, you can find it out. When this moves to the preclinical development, wherein you finding out like a pharmacokinetics details, short-term toxicology, formulations, synthesizes, scale up. In that particular finding, you are just getting a 12 compounds, say out of 50 compounds. When you move to the phase 1, I'm not going in a much detail of phase 1 to post-marketing because we all are aware of this particular phases in much detail. So when you move to the preclinical to the phase 1, we have 5 compounds and so on and so forth. So when we reach to the marketing, we are just having a two or one particular molecule available, which is going to be in a market. And that is in a span of like 6 to 10 years of time. And there is no guarantee that in this particular phase, any of phase is getting failure. And then again, you need to start from like where the particular trial has ended. This particular slide, I'm trying to explain this drug discovery process in a preclinical studies. Like in earlier slide, I mentioned that what preclinical has been done. So here I'm putting a different steps, like say, once we are find the objectives of that particular target, then it will go to the chemical synthesize. Next step, Then it will go for a chemical testing for efficacy and safety in a preclinical data or say animal data. And then based on that, we can figure it out the drug candidate. Next step is the formulation stability and scale up chemical synthesis in an animal. And then once this step has been done, then it moves to the phase 1 clinical trials, then phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials. And once we submitted and a regulatory review has been done, then we get the approval of the marketing approval. We'll get it. So now we have patient comes up, like we have this much of lengthy processes and this much of time consuming. In that case, why we require to have like a new drug to be marketed? Why we need to go for a new drug? And why need? So there are certain reasons, like that is unmet medical need because that medicine is not available. New disease, new disease, like say you say that COVID-19 has came across. So now we need to find some of the medicines for that. Some of the side effects of the drug, like say, you can say that some like say ecosprin is now in a recent clinical trial. It has come that it is not good for like patients having a more than a 70 years ages, low efficacy, increase of cost, and if your patent expired, definitely you would like to go over there. Now this is the need. Now we see that what are the challenges? Like say it is process is completely expensive, completely low success rate, low growth rate, and duplication of efforts because different companies working at a one particular target of the disease, and they are may having a, like a same, they are working on the same disease, not sure of how much efforts it is similar efforts. Unmanageable data, as I mentioned that there are so many data, unknown data available during the clinical trial or say at a drug discovery phases. So how to figure this particular out, this is also one of the challenge. So come out of this particular challenges. One way is to figure it out that what is the best way of like how I can do that. So one methodology is the clinical data mining, which I can show you this particular mechanism. It's like we are having raw data available with the various clinical trial data or say another formulations data available, which is part of the clinical trials. In that, we can select that particular data which is useful for our like say disease particular things. Then we go for a selection and cleaning. Then it moves to the target data. We figure it out the target data. If any transformation is needed, as this data is not a standard data, so there may be required of any transformations. So we can go with the transformation of the data, and then we apply the data mining methods. There are various methods we can apply over there and find patterns and rules over here. And based on that, we get out some kind of a knowledge that yes, these are the factors which is affecting like my patient pool or this is having some impact on that particular part. And once we get a knowledge has been gained, then when we need to go with the integration and again we need to check with the all your data with these particular factors, we already figure it out during this process. Okay. The earlier slide shows us the data mining process as an overview. What is the mechanism? Now here is data mining process and the algorithm. Let's say how the data mining works. It defines first the core problem. Okay, so this is a problem is occurred. Okay, then based on that particular problem is kind of objective. We find the data suitable to that particular problem. Then we explore the data from various sources, like say registry, medical, clinical trial, earlier clinical trials data, imHR data. All those data we have explored the data. Based on that particular data, we try to build the certain models. That model has to be validated, and once the model has been deployed, and the next step is to deploy the model, or you need to update the model if your model is not working or facing some issues. Here putting this data mining, you can put a data mining process at a, like a as a pilot projects to figure it out what best model you can use that, and maybe going forward you can use that particular model on a larger scale in a AI or ML. Now coming to the data mining techniques and models, I just put up some of the techniques which generally used over here in data mining, like association rule, which identifies the relation among the data and finding out the patterns. Another is a classification and prediction on a decision tree. Next technology is a natural neural network and a Bayesian neural network. Like we have heard of many things many times, like it is a pharmacovigilance, like a FDA has put a pharmacovigilance into that drug signals, safety signals to be figure it out. So here you are using Bayesian neural network. Same way, another technique is regression techniques. One more technique is a clustering, like patients can be grouped based on age, sex, disease, whatever the way. So using any of these techniques or any other available techniques, you can use in your data mining to figure it out what are the gems out of the mountains. Now, till now I have explained that what is it, like just a nutshell, what is the data mining techniques and how to do that. Now we are seeing that data science, what is data science, and for analyzing all this data available using the data mining technique, what we can figure it out. So here we have, as we mentioned, we have a drug data, clinical trial data, in vitro data, diagnosis and X-ray data, imaging data. So list is quite long, like sequence, genome data. Okay, using this particular data in a different way, analyzing a different data, not all the data combined, which we'll see in our next slides. But using this data science technique, it can be like a data mining, it is a AI, ML, or whatever the technique you are using this. In that case, you can figure it out on the different insights. Like say, drug repurposing, new biomarkers, you can figure it out, new targets, you can figure it out, new pathways, you can figure it out. And also you can figure it out with a personalized healthcare, which is immense important in this new big data era. So now let's, in our next slide, let's see that how each of the things will help and which data to be analyzed and what could be the insight and what could be our strategy. So drug repurposing. So like we are having a compound structure data which comes from preclinical data and clinical data. Drug data is available. Drug-drug interaction, which comes from the again a clinical trial data, like we have certain studies done already for a DDI studies. Drug protein interaction, side effects, mechanism of actions, certain data. This particular data, if you analyze using the certain data science techniques, so what insight they will give you? It will give you that, say, which new diseases are treatable with the drug. Okay, like say example, let me see, give the present example. Like say, we are saying Rameswar is used for a like earlier disease. Okay, and now we are treating the certain patients using this for the COVID-19. Okay, so this way, using this, we can figure it out that okay, my drug is for a like say fever, but using this, which particular other drug, other disease also can be cured with this particular drug. So that insight we can figure it out analyzing with this data. And then our strategy will be like a drug repurposing, meaning that this whatever the drug is available that can also be used for certain another diseases. Next one is a health record guided drug development. Okay. Now we have drug data and certain healthcare record data is available. In that, using if we use that particular data, what insight we'll get? So we get like understanding of outcome of the patients, okay, to see who is likely treated with a drug or similar kind of drug. So in this particular case, we are figuring out subset of the patients, okay, with this particular records, these particular drugs, this particular range of the patients can be treated with these drugs. So this will help us finding a real-time efficacy and safety data. Also, this will help us for future clinical trials. Like say, you are knowing that what particular patient pool is there for which drugs. So it will definitely help and optimize this safety and efficacy data. Another point is next generation sequences. How this particular data along with the clinical data or healthcare data will give what the insight it will give it to you. It will give us like understand which gene mutations are associated with which disease. Okay, this will definitely help us finding certain novel therapeutics, new targets, new pathways, new biomarkers. So this is really an important part, like say when you are look at the clinical data along with the genome data or sequences data. Coming to the personalized healthcare, so data needs to be analyzed is like prescription data, diagnosis test data, sequences data, and clinical trial data or hospital data. If we all together analyze, then we can figure it out which patients respond to which drugs. Earlier section we are saying that which patients are suitable for which drugs. Now here we are saying that which pool of the patients are responding to the which drugs. Like I may not be responding to the cetirizine, but my sister can be responding to the cetirizine. So based on this particular data, we can figure these particular things out, and that will help us personalize healthcare as a strategy. Same way, adverse event detection. So like a prescription of a drug, social media analytics, as well as like say available clinical data and a regulatory submission data. In that case, if we can figure it out like some unreported side effects or a drug interaction, which is so far is not figure it out. In that case, we can, when we are doing our new molecules, we can see that how the drug safety should be maintained over there. Next one is a present profiling. Here we are considering a data set. Data to be analyzed is a prescription data, social media analytics data, personal genomics data. Now you must be knowing that during the clinical trials also we are having a one optional ICF, which is states that whether DNA sampling has to be there are some to be collected, or a patient or a subject is willing to give that particular sampling or DNA sampling. So if that particular data can be analyzed, wherein which is come from a lots of clinical trial data, in that case this will help us to identify patients eligible and willing to take part in clinical trials who have been elected to be genetically profiled, meaning that if our certain clinical trials or molecules we see that it has some, if we can do with some genotype or phenotype effect and we can develop the clinical trial based on that, then the molecule has a better chance, a clinical trial has a better chance to get succeeded. So this way it can be helpful. Influencer profiling, it is again the same thing which we have discussed earlier, but it has some little bit more meaningful, like it contains also the medical literature also data also we are covering that, and based on that we are figuring out that different group of researchers and identify different group of patients. That will be help us in not only the clinical trials but post marketing, or when your drug going to be in a market, in a real market, and you are selling the drugs, these particular things can be helpful. On this particular slide and sections coming up, I'm trying to explain that with these different data science techniques applied to the clinical trials data. In that case, how better way we can plan our clinical trials. It can be in a one way, and second way, if data science techniques can be applied to the pharmaceutical industries, then how best way we can get the molecules, what are the benefits of that. So like if it applies to the clinical trials, and as I mentioned, better profiling of the subjects of patients, better study design, because we are a hub of the data and we are finding out best design out of that, or maybe some innovative design for these things. So that will be helpful. Fast recruitment, like this data science can also helpful for a site recruitment, enrollment. So that can helpful also fast recruitment and enrollment. Different sample size estimation, as well as like sample size generally we look onto the previous data, reference study data or historical data to determine the sample size. But here, using a different clinical trial hub, using this data science and filtering out that, in that case, we will figure it out that which is the best technique or how best way we can do the sample size estimation or which best technique of sample size derivation we can use. And last but not the least, it will help us to better study conduct. So all is like using the data science, we can put like a adverse events signaling also at automated various CRF pages entries also be checking is also automated kind of things. In that case, study conduct of the clinic is also be a better way. Coming to the pharmaceuticals. So if we apply the data science, we figure it out in initial stage, like what are the things, what are the factors and other things. In that case, we have less failure of the molecules, which means that it is a less time consuming and it goes to the market much earlier. We can find it out some novel therapeutics and fast approval and marketing of the products, and we can sell in a better way also using this any of these data science techniques. So now in this particular let's say every coin has a two sides, like one is like a head and one is tail. So any new technologies also having a challenges as well as benefits. So what are the challenges? So like we are dealing with a high volume data, like from the taking a disparate data, means taking from various sources like clinical trials, genome data, sequence data, all those things. So it requires data landfills in a scalable, supportable way, meaning that there is something has to be done prior to that so that all the data are meaningful data. Extraction, we are getting this data in a different format. So we need to make that extraction in a particular harmonized manner along with a cross-study analysis. Ensuring effective interactive collaboration across team within a company or between companies. Like we are having a, like say, we are doing with a couple of clinical trials and genome sequence database has to be created. And it's not only one company can work out for that. So different pharma companies can do collaboration and come out with a certain global data set created and can use this for their novel drug discovery. Staying in a so that has again like I said, collaboration as a little bit. We need to ensure that it is to be effective. Like say when you are doing a collaboration, there is a data privacy and all those aspects we need to take into consideration. Staying in a lockstep, with meaning that like unless we found certain things, visualize the key data. Sometimes scientists may stay back over here. They cannot start the work. So that is another challenge for this particular part. Hello. Hello.
5 more minutes.
Yeah, sure. I'm just one slide left, so it's fine with me. Just give me 1 minute. Now, takeaways. What is the way forward? So there has been a huge shift in how clinical trials are beginning with the new era of like say big science, big data, also data science. Okay, and industry also increasingly aware that they need to figure it out something better way for the clinical trial success and avoid potential risk. And even a regulatory is also looking forward for such kind of a technologies to be implemented into this clinical trials data so that it will be happening. And having a note with that, this is not a one-way street where technologies are informing data. Okay, means it's not only like data sciences informing the data and helping the clinical data, but vast amount of a disparate and complex data. Okay, we are having so much of disparate and complex data that is also pushing these new technologies to become more better and more productive in a long run. So that's my not on this part. And I'm done with my things. And thanks once again for all the attendees who attended passionately with my presentations.